Hey, before anything else, can I ask you a quick favor? Your subscription is what keeps this channel alive. If you've ever felt something from this story or any of the others, or if this channel has ever made your day better, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. It helps me way more than you can imagine. Now, let's get into the story. Anna didn't plan to drink that much. Not tonight. Not when she had promised herself it would just be a quiet escape to the neighborhood LGBT bar to get out of her apartment and maybe, hopefully, stop thinking about Sarah. But her fingers had gripped the glass too tightly, her thoughts too loud, and her gaze had lingered too long on the flame-colored liquor that tasted like freedom and regret. The bar was dimly lit, the music mellow, the crowd scattered and disinterested. She had chosen a spot near the far end, where she could watch without being watched, where no one expected smiles or small talk. She remembered, vaguely, the sound of a deep, feminine voice asking if she wanted another. Eyes, impossible eyes, sharp and glimmering like molten silver in the dark, had met hers for one breathless moment. Anna had nodded without thinking, hypnotized by that voice, that stare, that presence. Then the night had blurred. She didn't remember leaving. Now, she was half asleep under her blanket when the doorbell rang. It was 2:17 a.m. Her phone glowed on the nightstand, confirming the time and making her stomach twist with unease. She wasn't expecting anyone. No one should be out at this hour, especially not in her quiet, suburban street where nothing ever happened. Her fingers curled tightly around the edge of the blanket, her pulse thudding in her ears. Then the doorbell rang again. 2 sharp chimes. Anna moved slowly, barefoot and cautious, stepping over a half-folded blanket and a stray sock. When she opened the door, just a crack, she saw her. The bartender. The woman with silver eyes. And in her hands, held delicately like something precious, was Anna's leather jacket. "I believe this is yours," the woman said, her voice smooth, almost too smooth, like velvet dipped in wine. She wore black, head to toe, not a hint of skin visible beyond the sharp edge of her jaw, and the elegant fingers curled around the jacket. Her hair was long and dark, cascading over her shoulders like spilled ink. And God, she smelled like roses. Fresh, deep red roses blooming in a midnight garden. Anna blinked. "How do you know where I live?" she asked, throat dry. The woman tilted her head. "You left your ID in the inside pocket." She handed over the jacket. "I thought you might want it back sooner rather than later." Anna reached out instinctively, but her fingers brushed against the woman's as she took the jacket, and the contact sent a bolt of something. Heat? Electricity? Hunger? Shooting up her arm. She gasped, barely audible, but the woman smiled like she'd heard it anyway. "I'm Nina," she added. Of course she was. Of course her name would be something that sounded like smoke and candlelight. "Anna," she said, then regretted it. Her voice was hoarse and unsure. She cleared her throat. "Thanks for bringing it." Nina didn't step away. She didn't even look like she intended to. She just stood there, perfectly still, watching her with that same impossible intensity. "You seem sad," Nina said softly, her eyes flicking briefly to Anna's lips, then back up. "I don't like seeing people leave my bar with sadness clinging to them." Anna felt the heat creep up her neck. "That obvious, huh?" Nina's smile widened slightly, not quite playful, not quite dangerous. "Only to those who know what heartbreak smells like." The words hit too close. Anna wrapped her arms around herself, jacket forgotten in her hands. "Well, you've done your good deed for the night. Thanks again." But still Nina didn't move. Her eyes caught the porch light, and for a second, just 1 second, Anna thought they flashed with something unnatural. A glint too bright, too sharp. Her breath hitched. "What are you?" she whispered before she could stop herself. Nina leaned in, just enough that Anna could feel the scent of roses deepen, richer now, almost suffocating. "Someone who doesn't sleep," she said simply. Then, as if that answered everything, Nina turned and walked away, disappearing into the night without another word. No car. No sound of footsteps. Just silence. Anna stood frozen in the doorway, jacket clutched against her chest, heart racing. She should close the door. She should go back to bed. She should forget the way Nina's fingers had felt against hers, or how her voice curled into her ears like smoke. But instead, she stood there, eyes fixed on the dark street, wondering how a simple jacket had turned into the beginning of something she didn't understand, and maybe didn't want to. Something told her Nina would be back. And when she returned, nothing would ever be the same again. The next night, Anna didn't go out. She told herself it was because she was tired, because work had been draining, because she needed rest. But that was a lie, and she knew it. The real reason was that she couldn't stop thinking about Nina. About the way she had appeared in the dead of night, her voice like velvet and her eyes like starlight, about how she had smelled like roses even though the world outside was cold and dry. There was something wrong with her. That was obvious. No one moved that silently. No one looked at someone the way Nina had looked at her, like she could see through the skin, through the bones, into every broken thing hiding underneath. And yet, despite every warning screaming in Anna's brain, she didn't feel afraid. She felt curious.
Drawn.
The way someone stands on the edge of a cliff and knows they shouldn't look down but does anyway. She went to bed early. Or at least she tried to. But her body was restless under the sheets, mind pulsing with questions and the phantom warmth of Nina's touch. She hadn't even realized how long she had been lying awake until she heard it. 3 soft knocks on the door. She sat up instantly. Her heart leapt in her chest, wild and stupid, like it already knew who was waiting on the other side. No one knocked at 1:43 a.m. unless something was wrong, or unless they'd been expected. Anna got up, walked slowly through the hallway, pulse in her throat, hands shaking just a little. She opened the door without hesitation this time. Nina stood exactly where she had the night before. Still in black. Still too beautiful. Her hair loose, slightly wind-tousled, lips parted as if she'd been about to speak and change her mind. "Hi," Anna breathed. Nina smiled. "Did I wake you?" "No," Anna said too quickly. Nina's eyes flicked across her face, studying, drinking her in like a secret only she could decipher. "I was in the neighborhood," she said, and Anna almost laughed.
Right.
"Of course you were." Nina tilted her head slightly. "You're not afraid of me." It wasn't a question. Anna hesitated. "Should I be?" Nina didn't answer. Instead, she stepped closer. Not too close. Just enough that the night seemed to pulse between them. "Most people would be," she said finally. "Most people don't invite strangers into their thoughts." Anna met her gaze and held it. Most people don't bring back lost jackets in the middle of the night. A flicker of amusement passed over Nina's face. She looked down, then back up. Touché. Silence wrapped around them like a second skin. Anna could feel the air shift, denser now, warmer. "Do you want to come in?" she asked before she could think better of it. Nina's eyes darkened slightly, like the offer meant more than it should. "Only if you're sure." Anna stepped aside, her breath shallow, her heartbeat betraying every attempt to play it cool. Nina crossed the threshold like she was stepping into something sacred. And maybe she was. Inside, the apartment was dim, quiet, the only light coming from the street lamp filtering through the curtains. Anna didn't turn anything on. Somehow, it felt wrong to. Nina stood in the center of the room, turning slowly, taking it all in. "You live alone," she said softly. Anna nodded. "Recently, yeah." Nina's expression shifted. Not pity. Not quite. Something softer. "Break up." Anna laughed bitterly. "That obvious?" Nina didn't smile this time. "It lingers on you. Like smoke. Like the memory of fire." Anna crossed her arms, suddenly cold.
She left.
Said I was too distant. That I didn't open up enough. Nina's gaze was unreadable. Some people can't handle what's buried deep. "Can you?" Anna asked. The words slipped out unplanned, raw. Nina's lips parted, and for a second, her teeth glinted. White. Perfect, but too sharp. She took one step forward, then another, until she was standing just in front of Anna. Close enough to touch. Close enough to feel her breath. "I've lived long enough to know that pain doesn't make someone weak. It makes them careful." Anna didn't move. She couldn't. Every instinct said this was dangerous. Every nerve begged her to stay exactly where she was. Nina lifted a hand, slow and deliberate, and let her fingers brush against Anna's cheek. Cold at first, then warm, then burning. Anna leaned into the touch without meaning to, her eyes fluttering shut. "Why are you really here?" she whispered. Nina didn't pull away. "Because you called me." "I didn't." "Not with words," Nina said, her voice a breath. "But your heart did." Anna opened her eyes, stunned. "That's not possible." "There's a lot that's not," Nina murmured, her thumb grazing the corner of Anna's lips. "Until it is." The room felt too small now. Or maybe too full. Of tension. Of things unsaid. Of things Anna wasn't ready to understand. But she didn't pull away. She didn't stop Nina's touch. Instead, she asked the question that had been echoing in the back of her mind since last night. "What are you?" Nina's smile was slow, careful. "Something old," she said. "Something broken." "Like me," Anna replied before she could stop herself. Nina's eyes gleamed.
No.
"You're something waiting to wake up." Before Anna could ask what she meant, Nina took a step back. "I should go. You just got here. If I stay, you'll start asking questions you're not ready to hear the answers to." "Try me," Anna challenged. But Nina was already moving toward the door, already slipping back into the shadows that seemed to welcome her like an old friend. She turned once, just before crossing the threshold. "I'll come back," she promised, her voice a caress. "When you stop fearing the truth." Then she was gone, swallowed by the night. And Anna, breathless and trembling, stood in the silence she left behind, knowing without understanding that her world had shifted, and that whatever came next, it would demand more than just her curiosity. It would demand everything. The next few nights passed in a blur of half-sleep and restless thoughts. Anna would lay awake long after midnight, staring at the ceiling, heart racing at every creak of the floorboards or gust of wind outside her window, hoping, no, aching, for another knock at the door. But it didn't come. Not right away. And that drove her crazy. Her dreams were filled with silver eyes and cold fingers brushing against her skin, with roses blooming in the dark, blood red and soft as secrets. She would wake up breathless, hand clenched around the edge of the sheets like she'd been holding on to something just before it slipped away. She told herself it was nothing, that she was just intrigued, curious, still a little drunk on heartbreak and loneliness. But that wasn't it. She didn't miss Sarah anymore. She didn't even think of her. Not when the scent of roses still clung to her jacket, or when she caught glimpses of dark hair and black clothes in her peripheral vision that disappeared the moment she turned.
It was a hunger now.
A need. And it was growing. She even went back to the bar twice. Sat in the same spot. Waited. But Nina wasn't there. The bartender who served her didn't know who she was talking about when she asked. "Owner," he'd said, confused. "This place doesn't have one. It's co-op owned." But that was a lie. Anna had seen the way Nina moved behind that bar, like she belonged to it, or maybe it belonged to her. She left after 20 minutes, frustrated and dizzy with doubt. Was she losing her mind? Had she imagined it all? But on the fourth night, at 3:12 a.m., she woke to the sound of footsteps outside her window. Not loud, just enough. She rushed to the living room, threw open the door, and there she was. Nina, standing beneath the soft orange halo of the street lamp like something out of a dream, except dreams didn't make your lungs forget how to work. "You waited," Anna whispered, more accusation than observation. Nina's lips curved into a slow smile. "You missed me." "Don't flatter yourself. You kept the jacket by your bed." Anna flushed, suddenly aware of just how much Nina seemed to know. "You didn't come back. You weren't ready. And now I am." "You're restless. Craving. That's the first sign." "Sign of what?" Anna asked, stepping out into the night, her arms crossed more for control than comfort. Nina's eyes shimmered. "Awakening." Anna laughed, sharp and disbelieving. "You talk like a prophecy." Nina stepped closer. "Maybe you're part of one." The words should have sounded ridiculous. But the way she said them, soft, assured, like she was stating a fact instead of teasing, made Anna's heart lurch. "What are you doing to me?" she asked, voice shaking. "I haven't done anything," Nina said, "except answer your call." "Stop saying that. I didn't call you." "Didn't you?" Nina's hand reached out, and this time, Anna didn't flinch when her fingers touched her face.
Cold.
Familiar. And burning. "I only ever come to those who've already opened the door." Anna wanted to say she didn't understand, but part of her did. A small, hidden part that had always believed there was more to this world than what was visible. A part that had always felt a little too haunted, too hungry. "What are you really?" she asked again. Nina's hand slipped to the back of her neck, pulling her in slightly, not close enough to kiss, just close enough to feel every inch of tension between them. "I'm the end of pretending," she murmured. "And maybe the beginning of everything else." Anna's breath hitched. She wanted to pull away. She didn't. "You're not human." "No, but you used to be." Nina's smile faltered, just for a second. "A long time ago. You kill people? Not anymore. But you could." Love what you've seen so far and want to help me keep creating these awesome stories on this channel? Then subscribe and hit the bell. Your subscription supports the channel and makes sure you get more exciting stories. Only if they deserved it. Anna swallowed hard, her body trembling, not from fear but from the strange, magnetic force that seemed to pull her closer with every heartbeat. "Are you going to hurt me?" "Never," Nina whispered. "Unless you ask me to." A jolt of heat shot down Anna's spine, and she hated how much her body responded. Her lips were parted, breath shaky, mind racing with questions she wasn't ready to ask. Nina leaned closer, her voice brushing against her skin. "You don't know what you are, do you?" "I'm not," Anna started, but Nina cut her off. "You dream in symbols. You wake with your heart racing. You hear things no one else hears. You feel everything too deeply, too sharply. You've always been a little too much, haven't you?" Anna's chest rose and fell quickly now, her thoughts spiraling. "How do you know that?" "Because that's how it starts," Nina said. "That's how we find each other." "We." "You think I came into your life by accident? Didn't you?" Nina stepped even closer, and now there was no space left between them. "You think I found your jacket, but it's the other way around. You left it for me." "Why would I do that?" "Because part of you wanted me to find you." And just like that, Anna's resolve crumbled. Her hands reached for Nina's arms, needing something solid to hold on to. "I don't know what's happening to me." "Good," Nina whispered, leaning in until their lips were just a breath apart. "That means it's working." But she didn't kiss her. She pulled away slowly, as if savoring the moment, then turned and began to walk into the night again. "Wait," Anna called. "You can't just keep appearing and disappearing. This isn't normal." Nina glanced over her shoulder. "Neither are you." And then she was gone. Again. Leaving Anna trembling under the streetlight, her pulse racing, her soul aching with a truth she couldn't name. But deep down, she knew, whatever Nina had awakened in her, it wasn't going back to sleep. The nights stopped feeling normal after that. The world no longer moved at the same pace it once had. Anna began waking with her heart pounding, chest slick with sweat, breath shallow like she'd been running through dreams she couldn't remember. Her reflection looked different now, eyes darker, sharper, as if something inside her had turned toward the light just to find comfort in the dark. She kept the curtains drawn, avoided her phone, stopped answering texts from friends who only wanted to check in or talk about things that felt absurdly far away from the strange, haunting rhythm her life had adopted. Nina didn't come the next night, or the one after, but Anna felt her. She couldn't explain how. It was like the air held her memory, like shadows curved differently when she was near, like her name hung somewhere just behind Anna's teeth, waiting to be spoken. On the fifth night, the knock came again, 4 soft taps this time, deliberate, expectant. Anna didn't hesitate. She opened the door, and there she was. Nina looked different somehow. Same black clothes. Same eyes that never stopped burning. But her expression was more guarded tonight. Almost conflicted. "You're late," Anna said, voice low, teasing in a way she didn't expect from herself. "You're changing," Nina replied, as if that explained everything. "Is that a compliment or a warning?" "Both." Anna stepped aside without asking, and Nina walked in like she belonged, her scent trailing behind her, thick and intoxicating, roses in bloom, and something deeper beneath, something old and iron-rich that made Anna's blood stir. They stood in the living room without speaking for a long moment, just looking. The silence between them had weight now, a pull, like gravity bending toward a center they hadn't yet reached. "What are you doing to me?" Anna asked, but her voice was different tonight. Not fearful. Meeting. Nina's gaze softened. "I'm not doing anything. I'm just watching. Waiting." "For what?" "For you to stop pretending you don't feel it." Anna didn't answer. She couldn't, because she did feel it, whatever it was. This strange tether between them. This thing that made her ache and burn and tremble when Nina was near. "Why me?" she asked, softer now. "Why not someone else?" Nina stepped closer, slowly, like approaching something sacred. "Because I've been looking for you longer than you've been alive." "That's not possible. Time doesn't work the way you think it does." "You're being cryptic again," Anna muttered. "It's safer that way." "For who?" Nina didn't respond, but she reached out and touched Anna's wrist, fingers trailing gently over her pulse. "Your blood is louder now," she murmured. "It calls to things." "What things?" "Hungry ones." Anna's heart skipped. "Like you." Nina's eyes darkened. "I'm not here to hurt you. You're not here just to return jackets either." That earned her a slow smile, and God, that smile made something tighten low in Anna's stomach. "No," Nina agreed. "I'm not." Anna's voice dropped. "Then why do you keep coming back?" "Because you make me feel something I thought I'd lost." Anna swallowed hard, suddenly breathless. "What's that?" "Human." The word landed heavy, fragile, like it wasn't meant to be said aloud. Anna reached up, her hand brushing Nina's jaw, tentative but brave. "You feel cold," she whispered, "but not dead." "Not yet," Nina said. "And maybe not anymore." Their faces were inches apart now, the air between them humming with something electric and ancient. Anna's fingertips trailed down Nina's neck, over the place where a pulse should be. There was none, and yet she was standing there, solid, warm, real. "Kiss me," Anna whispered. But Nina didn't. Not yet. She looked at Anna like she was memorizing her, like she was afraid the moment would break if she moved too fast. "If I kiss you," she said, her voice low and shaking, "you'll never be the same again." "Maybe I don't want to be the same." Nina's hand slid to the back of Anna's neck, and finally, their lips met. It wasn't soft. It wasn't gentle. It was hunger and ache and centuries of silence colliding in one shared breath. Anna melted into it, into her, tasting roses and rain and something darker beneath. She felt Nina's hand tighten in her hair, the other gripping her waist like she was holding herself back from breaking open entirely. When they pulled apart, Anna was dizzy. Changed. Her body trembled and her lips tingled, and the world felt different now. Deeper, heavier, like a veil had been lifted. Nina's eyes were wide, glowing faintly in the dim light. "What did you do to me?" Anna asked, breathless. "I told you," Nina said, voice rough with restraint. "This isn't something you can walk away from." "I don't want to walk away." "You might," Nina said. "Once you know everything. Then tell me." "Not yet," she whispered, brushing her lips once more over Anna's cheek, softer this time, like a promise instead of a threat. "Let me have one more night before the truth." And with that, she disappeared into the hallway, into the dark, leaving behind the scent of roses and a storm just about to break. Anna didn't sleep after Nina left. She lay in bed, fully clothed, lips still tingling from the kiss, body vibrating with the aftershocks of something ancient and raw. Her thoughts wouldn't quiet, not even close. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Nina's face, those glowing eyes, the way her fingers had curled into Anna's waist, the way her mouth had tasted like secrets she wasn't ready to say aloud. There was no denying it anymore. Something was happening. Something impossible. And Anna didn't want to run. She wanted more. Even if it terrified her. Even if it meant burning for it. The next day passed in a daze. She went to work, answered emails, nodded through conversations she didn't hear. Everyone looked normal. Everything sounded normal. But Anna didn't feel like she belonged to this world anymore. She felt suspended, half here, half somewhere else. Her body ached in strange ways. Her senses felt sharper, too sharp. Coffee tasted bitter like iron, the office lights too bright, voices too loud. She saw things in shadows she swore weren't there a second before. And every time she looked in the mirror, her own eyes seemed darker. Like the color was deepening. Like something inside her was waking up. She left early. Couldn't pretend. Couldn't lie. All she wanted was to see Nina again. Ask the questions that clawed at her throat. Understand the way her heart had shifted inside her chest. It wasn't just attraction anymore. It was something much bigger. Something gravitational. That night, she didn't wait for the knock. She left her apartment at midnight, drawn by a pulse she couldn't name, letting her feet guide her without knowing where they were going. The city looked different. Slower. Dimmer. Like the world itself was holding its breath. She ended up back at the bar, but it was closed, lights off, door locked, no trace of life inside. She pressed her hand against the cold glass, hoping to feel something. Anything. And then a voice behind her. I hoped you'd come. Anna turned fast. Nina stood under the same awning where they'd first met. She looked exactly as Anna remembered, timeless, unreadable, devastating, but something in her expression was softer tonight. Almost tender. I couldn't stay away, Anna whispered. I know. There's something wrong with me. No, Nina said, stepping closer. There's something awakening in you. What does that mean? You're changing. Because of you? Because of what you already were, Nina said. I just lit the match. Anna felt a chill crawl down her spine. I don't understand. Not yet. But you will. You keep saying that. Just tell me. What am I becoming? Nina's eyes flicked across her face. Not all of us are turned. Some of us are born. Anna blinked. Born. With dormant blood. Old blood. Waiting to be called. Called by what? Nina stepped forward, close enough that Anna could feel the rose-scented air between them. By others like you. Or by someone like me. You mean, yes, Nina said. Your blood isn't fully human. It never was. Anna's breath caught. That's not possible. Think about it, Nina said softly. You've always felt like something was missing, haven't you? Like you were meant for something else. Something more. Anna's chest tightened. How do you know that? Because I remember what it felt like. Before I changed. But you said you weren't born like this. I wasn't. But I was close. Anna didn't realize she was trembling until Nina took her hands. What's happening to me? Anna whispered. Your senses will sharpen. You'll see things hidden in the dark. You'll start to feel hunger in ways that scare you. But you'll also begin to see the world for what it really is. The beauty, the cruelty, the truth. And eventually, you'll have to choose. Choose what? To stay who you were, Nina said. Or become what you're meant to be. Which is what? Nina didn't answer. She leaned in, pressed her lips gently to Anna's forehead, and whispered, Come with me. Anna's body moved before her mind caught up. She followed Nina through alleyways lit only by the moon, deeper into the city, past streets she didn't recognize, until they arrived at an old iron gate half covered in ivy. Nina pushed it open with one hand, and they stepped into a garden unlike anything Anna had ever seen. Roses. Hundreds of them. Blood red, in full bloom, thriving in the middle of the night. The air was thick with their scent. At the center of the garden stood a stone bench. Nina sat and patted the space beside her. Anna joined her slowly, her heart a wild thing in her chest. This is where I go when the world is too loud, Nina said. Where I remember who I was. Anna looked around, stunned. It's beautiful. It's where I first felt alive again. When you changed. Nina nodded. I came here the night it happened. I bled on the roots of these roses. And they've never stopped blooming since. You said you weren't turned anymore, Anna said. That you didn't kill. I don't.
Not now.
But once I did. When I didn't know who I was. Anna reached for her hand. Who are you now? Someone who's waited a very long time for something real. Their fingers intertwined, and Anna felt it again. That pulse, that heat, that overwhelming feeling that nothing about this was wrong. You think I'm real? She asked. I know you are, Nina whispered. Because for the first time in decades, I'm not hungry when I'm with you. Anna's breath caught in her throat. What if I choose not to become like you? Then I'll still come, Nina said. Every night. As long as you'll have me. Even if I stay human? Even then. And if I don't, then you'll never be alone again. Anna looked up at the moon above them, then at the roses blooming impossibly in the dark. Her body trembled, not from fear, but from something deeper. A readiness. A hunger of her own. She didn't have the answers yet, but she had Nina. And for tonight, that was enough. Anna didn't remember falling asleep in the garden, but when she woke, her head was resting against Nina's shoulder, the air around them still and scented with roses, the night unchanged, as if time had paused just for them. There was something disorienting about it, something dreamlike and yet undeniably real, and for a long moment, she didn't move. She just breathed in the warmth of Nina's body, the soft weight of her presence, and the quiet steadiness of knowing she wasn't alone anymore. You stayed, Anna murmured, her voice low and rough with sleep. Of course, Nina said, brushing a strand of hair from Anna's face. I told you. I'll stay as long as you want me to. Anna sat up slowly, blinking at the stars still clinging to the sky, her body aching in a way that wasn't quite pain. She felt heavier now, but also more alive, like her bones had remembered something ancient, something buried. It doesn't feel like morning, she said. Nina looked up. It isn't. But I slept. Time bends in places like this. That's not possible. You keep saying that, Nina said with a soft smile, but the truth keeps happening anyway. Anna looked around, eyes tracing the dark velvet petals of the roses that had not wilted, not even slightly, still vivid and bleeding with color. She touched one delicately and pulled her finger back with a hiss. It had thorns. And the thorn had drawn blood. A single drop welled up on the tip of her finger, dark and vibrant under the moonlight. Nina reached for her hand instinctively, pulling it to her lips. Wait, Anna started, but it was too late. Nina's mouth closed over her finger, and her eyes fluttered shut. Anna felt her own breath catch as warmth spread from the point of contact, low and slow and pulsing. Nina didn't drink. She just held her there, her tongue pressing gently against the wound until the sting faded and the blood was gone. When she let go, Anna's knees felt weak. You taste different, Nina whispered. Different how? Richer. Older. Anna blinked, still trembling. What does that mean? It means you're waking up faster than I thought. Anna didn't know what to do with that. She stood abruptly, needing to move, needing space to think, but as she stepped away, the world tilted for a second. The garden darkened around the edges, the roses swaying unnaturally. Whoa, she gasped, grabbing the edge of the stone bench. Nina was there instantly, her arms steady around her.
Easy.
It's the shift. The what? Your blood is adjusting. Your senses are learning how to listen. To what? Everything, Nina whispered. Things you've always felt but never understood. Anna's breath was shallow now, her body vibrating with something between fear and exhilaration. I didn't agree to this. You don't have to, Nina said. It's already inside you. So, what happens now? We wait, Nina said. And I stay close. To keep you grounded. Close how? Anna asked, but her voice was thinner now, more vulnerable. Like this, Nina murmured, and pulled her in again. Her lips brushed Anna's temple, her cheek, then her mouth, so slow, so reverent, as if kissing her was a ritual older than language. Anna let herself be kissed, her hands sliding over Nina's back, her fingers curling in the fabric of her coat. Everything felt hotter now. Every touch sent sparks under her skin. She could feel her heart thudding against her ribs, faster than it had any right to be. She gasped against Nina's mouth, trembling. "Why does it feel like this?" "Because we're bound," Nina said. "Because you were made for this." "For you?" "For the truth." But Anna didn't want truth. Not right now.
She wanted more of this.
Of her. She wanted to sink into the feeling until it erased the questions and the fear. She deepened the kiss, bold now, and Nina answered it with equal fire, hands firm around Anna's waist, pulling her closer, anchoring her in the middle of something she didn't understand but couldn't let go of. They kissed like people who didn't know when they'd get another chance. They kissed like something holy was trying to break through skin and bone and breath. When they finally pulled apart, Anna's lips were swollen, her skin flushed, her soul rattling. "Is this you?" she asked. "Doing something to me?" "No," Nina said, voice rough. "This is you. Finally letting go." "I don't know how to go back," Anna whispered. "You're not supposed to." They stood there for a long time, foreheads touching, silence wrapping around them like silk. And then Nina pulled away and looked at her with that expression again, the one that was equal parts awe and sorrow. "There's something you need to see," she said. "But not here. Where you were born." "I know where I was born." "You know what they told you," Nina corrected. "But you don't know the place where your blood began to remember itself." Anna felt a chill roll down her spine. "You're scaring me." "Good," Nina said gently. "That means you're still human enough to be afraid. And when I'm not? Then you'll stop asking why and start asking what comes next." Anna stared at her, heart pounding. "Tell me." "Tomorrow," Nina said. "At sunset. I'll come for you. Be ready." "For what?" "To remember who you really are." Anna wanted to ask more. To make her stay. But Nina was already stepping into the shadows again, her figure dissolving into the garden like mist. And Anna, breathless and trembling and burning with a hunger she didn't yet understand, stood alone among the blood-red roses, knowing that whatever came next would change her forever, and that she wanted it to. Anna didn't move from the garden for a long time after Nina vanished. The scent of the roses lingered on her skin, in her hair, on the inside of her mouth where their kiss still lived like a phantom. Her whole body pulsed like it was no longer hers, like it belonged to something bigger now, something older. Her blood buzzed beneath the surface, restless, alive in a way she'd never known. She knew this wasn't love.
Not yet. It was older than that.
It was something sacred and violent and inevitable. She wanted to ask questions, wanted to demand clarity, but Nina's words echoed louder than her doubts. "At sunset. I'll come for you. Be ready." That night passed in pieces. She barely slept. Her dreams were riddled with symbols she didn't understand, teeth in the dark, red roses growing from her skin, her own eyes glowing in mirrors she couldn't shatter. When she awoke, there was blood on her pillow. Not a lot. Just enough to remind her that the line between reality and transformation was blurring faster than she could keep up with. The day crawled. The light felt too bright, too sharp, like the sun itself was pushing against her skin. Her senses were wrong. Sounds louder, colors more saturated, smells cutting straight through her like knives. And underneath all of it, a hunger bloomed. Not for food, not for sleep, for something raw, something red. By the time the sun began to fall, she was already waiting by the door. She wore black, not by choice, but because it felt right. She didn't even remember putting the outfit on. Her body had moved with instinct, like something inside her already knew what was coming. At exactly 8:04 p.m., there was a knock. 3 times. Anna opened the door. Nina stood there, cloaked in the deep purple hues of the dying light, eyes glowing faintly, mouth parted like she'd been holding her breath all day. "You're ready," Nina said. "I don't know what I am," Anna replied. "But I know I'm not afraid anymore." Nina stepped forward, taking Anna's hand. Her touch was cool, grounding. "Come with me." They didn't drive this time. They walked. Through streets Anna didn't recognize, through alleys that looked older than the city itself. Doors opened for Nina, without her touching them. Lights dimmed when they passed. The world bent around her like it knew who she was. Anna didn't ask where they were going. She didn't have to. Her body already felt drawn to it. Like her blood was walking ahead of her, pulling her towards some invisible destination. Finally, they stopped in front of a wrought iron gate embedded in a stone wall older than anything Anna had ever seen. Beyond it lay a path of black cobblestone, flanked by trees that arched overhead like guardians. "This is it?" Anna asked. Nina nodded. "This is where your blood remembers." They walked in silence. The deeper they went, the quieter the world became. No crickets. No wind. Just breath and heartbeat and the crunch of gravel beneath their feet. At the end of the path, a ruin waited. Once a chapel, now nothing but stone bones and ash-covered ground. But it thrummed. With memory. With power. "What happened here?" Anna asked. "This is where the last of your kind was buried." "My kind? Not human. Not like me either. Something in between. Born with both light and dark inside. Feared for your ability to choose." "Choose what?" "Whether to stay in the world of the living or become something else entirely." Anna stepped into the ruins, her breath catching. The moment her foot touched the stone, something bloomed in her chest, hot and cold at once, a burst of memory she'd never lived. A fire. Screaming. Hands clutching at her. A woman crying her name. Her knees buckled. Nina caught her. "It's starting," Nina whispered. "The remembering." "I saw her," Anna said, voice hoarse. "My mother. I think she tried to protect me."
She did.
"She gave you to the old blood. Hid you where even death wouldn't find you."
Anna's eyes were wild now.
"What am I?" "The last," Nina said, cupping her face. "The last living bloodborn. A child of both night and breath." "That's not real." "It is. And you've felt it your whole life. That pull. That ache. That knowing. It was never anxiety. Never fear. It was your power trying to break through." Anna gripped Nina's arms. "And what happens if I let it?" "Then you'll become what you were always meant to be. Not human. Not vampire. Not bound by either world. And if I don't, you'll decay from the inside," Nina said, voice soft but brutal. "Your blood will rot. Your mind will fracture. You'll starve for something no one else can give you." "You said I had a choice." "You do," Nina said. "But it's not between yes and no. It's between living half alive or burning into the truth." Anna stared at her, her heart a storm. "And if I change, will you stay?" "I'm yours," Nina whispered. "I've always been yours." "Then do it," Anna said. "Whatever it takes, do it now." Nina kissed her, not like before, not soft or hesitant, but deep and hungry and raw. Anna opened for her completely, her fingers tangled in Nina's coat, her body pressed so tightly against hers that there was no space left for fear. Only want. Only surrender. Only truth. When they broke apart, Nina drew a blade from beneath her sleeve. "This is the last time you'll feel fear," she said. "Do you trust me?" "Yes." Nina lifted the blade and pressed it to her own wrist. She sliced slowly, deliberately, and the blood that welled was darker than red, almost black, glowing faintly. She brought her wrist to Anna's lips.
"Drink," she said.
Anna hesitated only for a breath. Then she drank. The blood was fire and roses and rain, and something deeper, something eternal. It burned down her throat, settled in her stomach, and then exploded outward. She fell back, convulsing as her body lit from the inside, as her bones cracked and her nerves screamed and her skin burned with the fury of rebirth. Nina held her through all of it, whispering her name, anchoring her to the earth. And when it was over, when Anna opened her eyes, the moon above was red, her skin glowing faintly, her breath visible in the air though the night was warm. She wasn't the same. She wasn't human. She was a monster. She was something new, something wild, something divine. Nina looked at her with awe and hunger and reverence. You're beautiful, she breathed. You're terrifying, Anna replied. And so are you. They stood among the ruins, bound by blood and fate, and a kiss that had rewritten the rules of life and death. And in Anna's chest, something purred, something ancient and powerful and fully awake at last. The night was quieter after the transformation, like the world itself had paused to recognize what had just been reborn. Anna stood in the ruins with blood still on her lips and stars burning too bright overhead. The silence wasn't empty. It was full. Charged. Every nerve in her body felt alive with purpose, her senses sharper than they had ever been, as if she could hear the heartbeat of the earth under her feet and taste the electricity in the wind. Nina stood close, eyes fixed on her like she wasn't sure whether to bow or run. Say something, Anna whispered, her voice lower, rougher, as if it, too, had changed. Nina took a breath she didn't need and stepped forward slowly. You're more than I imagined. What does that mean? You weren't just born for this. You were made to surpass it. Anna didn't understand the weight of those words yet, but she felt them like thunder beneath her skin. You said, I was the last. What does that make me now? A threat, Nina said. To those who want the bloodborne to stay buried. There are others? Not like you. But there are those who watch. Those who fear what you are. Anna felt something stir inside her. Not fear, but fury. Let them come. Nina's eyes gleamed. They will. They left the ruins before the sun could rise, moving like shadows across the city, invisible but not unnoticed. People turned their heads as they passed, sensing something they couldn't name, the old instinct of prey near predator. Anna wasn't used to being looked at like that. She wasn't sure she hated it. Back in her apartment, she stood in front of the mirror. Her reflection was the same, but not. Her eyes were deeper, darker, luminous at the edges. Her skin seemed to pulse with unseen energy. She reached up, pressed a hand to her chest. Her heart beat slower now, steadier. What am I supposed to do with this? She asked. Nina came up behind her, arms sliding around her waist, chin resting on her shoulder. Whatever you want. Is that how this works? Power doesn't come with rules, just consequences. And what are mine? That you'll never be able to pretend again, Nina said. Not even to yourself. Anna turned to face her. And you? What are you now? Yours, Nina said simply. Bound in blood, in choice, in whatever comes next. Anna kissed her then, not tentative, not careful, but full of the fire inside her, and Nina answered with a moan that sounded like it came from centuries of longing. They fell into bed together like they were falling through time, mouths desperate, hands claiming, bodies pressed so tightly not even breath could slip between them. It wasn't sweet. It wasn't slow. It was a claiming, a completion. Skin on skin, hunger meeting hunger, mouths tasting every inch like they'd been waiting lifetimes to do so. When they came apart hours later, tangled in sheets and sweat and silence, Anna stared at the ceiling, chest rising and falling with something other than exhaustion. I feel like I could burn the world down, she whispered. Nina brushed a hand over her stomach. You could. Would you stop me? No, Nina said. I'd stand beside you and watch it burn. That shouldn't have comforted her, but it did. Until the knock. 3 sharp raps. Not like Nina's. Not gentle. Not familiar. Anna sat up instantly. Who the hell? Don't open it, Nina said, suddenly tense. You know who it is?
No.
But I know what it is. The knock came again. Anna slid off the bed, her body still buzzing, but her instincts were sharper now. She approached the door, placed her palm flat against it.
Cold.
Too cold. They found you faster than I thought, Nina murmured behind her, already halfway dressed. Who are they? The ones who guard the bloodlines. Who believe what you are should never exist. And what happens if I open it? We fight, Nina said, voice darkening. Or we run. I don't run. Good, Nina replied, and when Anna turned, she saw her fangs bared for the first time, fully extended, gleaming in the low light. Because neither do I. The door creaked. Not from a knock this time, but from pressure. Someone or something on the other side was trying to force it open. Anna felt her pulse slow, her hands curl, her breath deepen. She didn't feel afraid. She felt ready. "Can I hurt them?" she asked. "You were made to," Nina said. "But if you open that door, there's no going back to quiet nights and whispered kisses." "Good," Anna said, stepping closer. "Because I don't want quiet anymore." The door rattled hard now. A warning? Or a threat? Anna reached for the knob. "Together?" she asked. Nina was at her side in a flash, hand on Anna's back. "Always." The door flew open with a crack of splintering wood, and in the dark beyond stood two figures in cloaks, eyes glowing gold, mouths curled in disdain. "Bloodborne," one hissed. "You were supposed to stay dead." Anna smiled, her own eyes flaring in response. "Sorry to disappoint." And then everything exploded. Movement, shadow, claws and teeth, and something sharp in the air that wasn't just violence. It was destiny. Anna moved like she had done it 1,000 times. Nina was a blur beside her, elegant and brutal, and together they tore through the intruders like wind through fire. When it was over, blood slicked the floor, but it wasn't theirs. Anna stood panting, her hands trembling, heart pounding in her ears. "Is it always like this?" she asked. Nina wiped blood from her lip, grinning like a predator finally fed. "Not always. Just the beginning." "How many more will come?" "All of them," Nina said. "The old ones. The cowards. The ones who still believe in keeping power hidden." "Let them," Anna said, her voice dark and beautiful and full of promise. "Let them come." Nina reached for her again, pulled her close, kissed her like the storm they'd just survived, and in that moment, Anna knew, whatever war had just begun, whatever blood would be spilled next, it was already worth it. Because the thing growing inside her wasn't a curse. It was freedom, and love, and fury, and for the first time in her life, she felt like exactly what she was always meant to be. Alive. They didn't sleep that night. Not after the fight. Not after the bodies were gone, and the adrenaline burned through their veins like fire through dry leaves. Anna stood barefoot on the blood-stained floor of her apartment, staring out the shattered window at a city that still believed it was safe, unaware that something ancient had just awoken in the dark. Nina moved behind her in silence, gathering what little they could carry. There would be no going back. Not now. Not after the attack. Not after Anna's power had revealed itself in full. "How many more?" Anna asked without turning. "Enough," Nina said. "They'll come in waves now. Stronger. Smarter. Older. And we'll kill them all? Only if they try to take you from me." Anna turned then, her body still humming with power, her eyes no longer just human. They shimmered with something molten and eternal. "Let them try." Nina crossed the room slowly, stopping only when they were inches apart. "This isn't a war you can win alone." "I'm not alone." Anna reached out, pulled Nina closer by the front of her coat, and kissed her. Slow, deep, and deliberate. Not a promise. A declaration. When they broke apart, Nina was smiling. "You really were born for this." "No," Anna said, pressing her forehead to hers. "I was born for you." They left the city before dawn. No goodbyes. No explanation. Just two figures disappearing into shadow, one of them carrying a fire inside her that would never go out again. They traveled by night, sleeping during the day in abandoned places touched by old magic and forgotten bloodlines. Nina taught her how to control the hunger, how to silence the noise, how to read the currents of power that ran beneath the skin of the world. Anna learned fast. Too fast. Her blood didn't just wake, it devoured. Her presence became a ripple, a warning. Those who sensed her knew to kneel or run. Word spread. The last bloodborne had risen. The old order began to fracture. Some came to destroy her. Others came to worship her. And through it all, Nina remained at her side, silent, lethal, beautiful in ways that Anna now understood weren't of this world. Their love didn't burn, it consumed. Nights tangled in sheets and sweat, bodies pressed together in desperate devotion, mouths searching like they were starving for something only the other could give. They kissed like they were breaking curses. They touched like they were rebuilding gods. Anna stopped asking what she was. She knew. She wasn't a vampire. She wasn't human. She was the bridge between worlds, the bloodborne, the sovereign of what had been hidden for centuries. When the final reckoning came, it wasn't with armies. It was with a choice. The Council of 13, ancient, rotted, powerful, summoned her to the Black Citadel. They offered her a deal. Give up the power. Let herself be bound again. Return to silence. Why? Anna asked, standing before them in black and crimson, Nina behind her like a shadow made flesh. Because if you don't, one of them said, voice trembling, you'll tip the balance. You'll undo everything. Exactly, Anna said, and her smile was sharp enough to draw blood. They attacked, and she ended them, one by one, without mercy, without hesitation. Nina fought beside her, a blur of fong and steel, and when the last of them fell, the citadel burned. Anna stood in the ashes, eyes glowing like molten gold, and declared the end of the old world. No more hiding, no more shame, no more power locked away. She wasn't a secret. She was a beginning. In the aftermath, others came, young ones, lost ones, touched by hunger, fear, magic. Anna welcomed them,
Taught them.
gave them the choice she never had. Nina watched her grow into something divine, not a queen, not a monster, but a force. And in the quiet hours, when the fire dimmed and the blood cooled, they curled around each other like constellations. Do you regret it? Nina asked once, their limbs tangled in the afterglow of another night that felt like a myth. Not for a second, Anna said, brushing her lips over the hollow of Nina's throat. I waited lifetimes for you, Nina whispered. And I'd wait again. You don't have to, Anna said, pulling her closer. I'm here now, forever. And she was. They didn't grow old. They didn't fade. They ruled in the dark, not with tyranny, but with truth, with fire, with love. Anna had lost everything she once believed made her human, but in return, she had gained something far greater, a purpose, a power, and a love that had survived death, blood, and time itself. And when people told stories of them, of the last bloodborne and the vampire who loved her, they didn't speak in fear. They spoke in reverence. Because deep down, everyone knew that sometimes the monsters weren't the ones who destroyed the world. Sometimes they were the ones who saved it.